Hey everybody, this is me, the Undead Viking, and this is Nightmare Forest Alien Invasion. Now, Nightmare Forest was a game that I reviewed last year, which was about basically running from all these horrible creatures that are trying to eat you in a forest. And this is kind of the spiritual successor. You can combine the games to like play them together, but this is a standalone game all its own. Because instead of running away from things and trying not to get eaten, which was going on in Nightmare Forest, here is a game that basically you are in this forest where aliens have landed that are bent on world conquering and world domination, and it's up to you and your friends to defeat all the aliens to prevent them from destroying the Earth. So, it is a cooperative game, obviously. Nobody really wants the Earth to be destroyed. It is a game of exploration, a game of dice management, and a game of pushing your luck. All things that I really, really enjoy. So let me tell you and show you how Nightmare Forest Alien Invasion is played. And then we'll come back here and I'll tell you exactly why I'm digging it. Alright, cool. Alright, so this is Nightmare Forest. I've gone ahead and set up a two-player game, although the game does handle large numbers. I've definitely played this with 4 or 5. The reason I've done a two-player is I played this more as a two-player, because I played it with my daughter a few times, but also just for the size of the board, it will increase exponentially with each player that you add. When you create the game, what you're doing is you're creating different cards that are going to be the part of the forest that you have to clean out. You have to kill all the aliens that are like on the other side of these cards. And there are Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, and Tier 4 cards. You're going to use 2 of Tier 1 through 3 for every player and 1 of Tier 4 for every player. So for 2 players, we have 4 Tier 1, 4 Tier 2, 4 Tier 3, and 2 Tier 4. And you'd randomly pick those, but you do keep these off to the side because there is a chance that you will be replacing cards and more aliens will show up as the game is played. Not all of these cards have aliens on their side. There can be traps and even some good things that could possibly happen as well. But I'll get to that in just a second. To begin the game, each player will get a little player card that will just represent them. The card is just art, and mind you, some of the art on these cards isn't finished, so just keep that in mind. This is a prototype that I was sent. But like Jose doesn't automatically start with a chainsaw, nor does she get a bow, or he doesn't have that knife or the crossbow or whatever. This is just a person to represent you. However, at the beginning of the game, each person will get 2 of these ability cards. And they pick one. The 2 abilities are just something that gives them like a special ability. So here's like Lucky, you get to reroll a card. A Hoarder, your hand limit is 4 as far as your gear you collect. Normally you can only have 3, but the Hoarder can have 4. It also tells you how much health you have before you die. Both of these have 9. Other players here, like here's the Medic. They start with 7. And obviously the health is important because if you are killed, not only are you killed, you're out of the game, but everybody loses because of the fact that the aliens are trying to like vaporize a human to collect his DNA or her DNA and use that to create a super weapon that will kill all humans. So you got to make sure that nobody dies. In addition, each person will get a gear card for starting gear. So here's like an axe. You can see it does 2 points of damage. I'll explain that in just a second here when I talk about combat. It takes 2 hands. It has a limited ammo because it's an axe. It's just you get to keep swinging it. And this little ear here tells you that it makes no noise when you use it, which is good because it isn't going to alert any of the aliens to your presence. And so here's a gear crowbar, but it says discard this card to open a gear cache. Gear cache is a thing that can show up in the forest. It'll give you some special things. Here's a bow. So you'll notice that it actually has ammo. So it can only be used twice, and you run out of arrows. I'll show you a couple things like weapons like rifles will have 2 of these little earmarks on there to show that it's fairly loud, and the chances are that something is going to show up and decide that it wants to attack you because you're making a lot of noise. Here's just a classic pistol, a 45, and once again it has a little 1, so it isn't as loud as the rifle. Crossbow, no noise. here is the BDG, like I guess big damn gun. Obviously super loud. You're definitely going to have something coming on check you out. Here obviously is probably the coolest item, the fusion blade, basically, you know, obviously a katana lightsaber type of thing. 3 points of damage and makes no noise. How awesome is that? Unlimited ammo. Definitely something you'd probably want to get if you were playing the game and trying to hunt down aliens. Alright, when you set up the game, the cards are put out randomly, so there's no guarantee as to how this will look, if you will. This kind of adds to the co-op nature of the game, because you're going to have to try to figure out ways and paths to like get to these level 1s and level 2s where the aliens are easier, so you can defeat those, get some gear, get some experience points, level up, so you can then move on to the higher challenges under the tier 3s and tier 4s. After you set up the board, and the descriptions in the rules tell you exactly how the board should be set up. This isn't like some random thing that I threw together here. Each player will place their pawn on a card that is on the outside of the board, and that is the beginning spot. To begin with, on the first turn of the game, the first thing you have to do is you have to explore the cards you're on. Now, technically, later on, you know, you aren't forced to do those things, but to begin with, you have to do it. So, like, and you turn the card over, and you see, you know, you have an alien. I'll show you this real quick. Here's a picture of an evil-looking alien. You can see that it is a tier 1 card, because of the little 1 down there, and it has 1 health. Aliens have to be killed for their full amount of health, regardless. This really doesn't matter with this guy, because he's got 1 health. But if he had, like, 5 health, I'd have to do 5 points of damage to him all in 1 round, because they have nanotechnology that allows them to heal. So you can't just do some points of damage and then, you know, place some of these damage tokens on there. No, you have to go ahead and take them out. Now, for really tough guys, like here, I'll just show you, like, you know, some of these, you know, bigger aliens, like with a health of 11. For some of those bigger ones, you can, with 2 players, go into that spot and work together to defeat them, and you'll find that, once again, because of the cooperative nature of the game, that will happen, and it's important. But, okay, so if you are on this spot and you are fighting that alien, now I should mention that if you are on a spot, like let's say you got to something like this level 11 thing, and there's no way you can defeat that. Normally you can't leave, unless there's some special rule, you can't leave a spot that has an alien that you're on top of, but you aren't forced to fight them. Like, if the card's already turned over, now if you explore the spot by turning the card over, then you're kind of forced to fight the alien. But if you start your turn with you on top of the alien, you don't have to fight them. You can take other actions, but you can't leave. You can't move off the spot. Now you might say, well, that's not so bad. Well, the thing is that each turn you're running out of time, slowly but surely, and this is a little time marker over here. Each turn that all the players go, and you haven't defeated all the aliens, it's 1 less turn that you have to win the game. And what happens at the end of the game, you lose, because basically the aliens call in their big giant alien strike force, and they decimate the world. I shouldn't say decimate, that's a horrible word. They don't reduce the world by 10%. No, they destroy the world. So anyway, regardless, each player begins with 4 dice in their dice pool. As you gain levels, you will gain dice and add those to your dice pool. This is important because dice are your resource. Dice are used to fight aliens, obviously. Dice are going to be used, you're going to just expend a die to be able to move to another spot. If you want to search the spot you're on, that's expending a die as well. So, you know, you're using up your dice as you go. So you have a situation where you have this 1 alien. So he only has a health of 1. You have 4 dice to use. You're going to have to fight him. You're saying, well, there's only, you know, like, there's 2 spots on the die that have nothing on it. So, but all the rest have at least 1 hit on them, including a spot that has 2. So are you going to gamble and say, well, chances are I'm probably going to get a hit, so you spend 1 die to fight, and I got it. So then that would take out the alien. Now, if I had missed the alien, and I not gotten that, like that die almost did, then the alien gets to counterattack, and then they get to roll dice to try to hurt you. And if so, this one would get 1 die, so you roll that, he'd get a hit, and I'd have to take a point of damage and put it on Jose there. And so, and obviously, you know, then it's a situation where you have to decide how many dice you're going to gamble on fighting. Now, if you have gear, oh, and I should mention the 2. So, like, you expend a die, right, to kill it. I rolled well enough. The cool thing, if you do that and you succeed, you get that die back as a gift. Which, you know, then, you know, replenishes your action points, or basically your resources for actions, and you're able then to, like, oh, now I'm going to expend a die, you know, to move to this spot, kind of thing. And then so then you can go through it, but you gain that 1 die back. Couple of things. If two people combine together to defeat a big alien, you don't get that point back. Basically, it was who would get it. You know, and so but you still get to defeat the alien. Now, when you defeat aliens, you get to take the experience that they're worth, which is the same as their tier, and you put it in the experience pool. Not just the person who kills it. It goes totally into the experience pool to be used by all the players. Once again, adding to the cooperative nature of this game. Experience can be used by anybody to do several things. You can spend 2 to immediately reroll 1 die. You can spend 3 to immediately regain 1 health, and that can be used to prevent being, killed off. So, like if you, got killed by an alien, you can spend 3. Oh, okay, we didn't lose. And then for 3, you can go up 1 level. For 5, you can go up to from level 2 to level 3, and then 7, go from level 3 to level 4. Whenever you gain a level, you take one of these tokens that just says +1 die, and you place it on your character like so to show that you have at the beginning of the game, beginning of your turn, an extra die for that turn. Now, a couple other things about fighting with a weapon. Alright, so you notice that this axe has unlimited uses, and it has automatically 2 damage. So the 2 damage could easily, you can just say, I'm not going to use any dice, and I'm going to go ahead and kill this alien. That's completely valid if you have that axe, and it's a very good use of it. However, you do not get a die back for doing that. So you can't, even if, you go into that spot, you had 2 dice out of your 4, and you defeat the alien, you don't, as a reward, get 1 back. You have to actually expend dice, without, with the weapon that you're using to gain it back. So just keep that in mind. A couple other quick rules before I show you some of the other cards that go on in this game. If you decide to search, it's very simple. You just roll a die. If you get, that's really lucky. If you get 2, you get to draw 2 cards and pick one. So you can draw these 2 cards and say, oh, I really want the crowbar, or whatever. And so you just pick, and then the other one goes back to the discard pile. If you just get 1, you get to just draw a piece of gear. If you get 0, obviously you don't get anything. You can move any direction. So if you're in this spot, you could move diagonally here and so on and so forth. The only problem with moving diagonally is that you have to look at the 2 cards you're avoiding. So like in this case, it's a tier 1 and a tier 3. Then basically the possibility that the aliens that are hiding there, they get to roll up the total tiers, and then you roll those 4 points of damage. They zap you as you go by, and you can take a ton of damage that way. So it's one of those things where, yeah, maybe you should if you have to get to a spot, and save yourself some trouble of as far as the movement goes. But it is very risky if you do so. If you use a loud weapon, depending upon how loud it is, you roll a die and then determine the results. Basically, if you get a hit, the rules will state what tier of you get, and then you just take and you place it in the spot that the alien has shown up to see what the heck's going on in that spot, and so then you can. So a lot of times, yes, loud weapons are needed because they're very powerful, but you have to kind of weigh the odds and weigh your chances as far as dragging another alien to that location. Another thing I want to talk about really quickly is the fact that cards aren't necessarily all bad, as I said, but there's a lot of different traps as well. So this is a pop-up turret. The thing about pop-up turrets is when they show up, basically so if this turret showed up here, it immediately shoots anything that's nearby, which would be both of these players right here and here. After the pop-up turret does that, it just does it just sits there kind of like an alien, waiting for somebody to show up and fight it and kill it off. And you can see that it has 2 health right there. There's these guys. These are very nasty plasma mines. When you go into the spot, it explodes. Not only does it hurt the person that blows it up, but it also hurts anybody that's close to it. That stinks. And then it disappears, and you replace it with another card from the alien spot over there. And then there's a couple of things here that actually aren't all bad. Like I said, well, one more bad one. You have an energy snare, which will hold the player in the spot that they're at, and and once again, not being able to move, not being able to move around the forest, and being able to kill aliens, bad, because you're running out of time slowly but surely. Sometimes you get a little follower. Here's the cute little Sophie the puppy, and the Sophie the puppy will follow with you, and if you want, you can discard her and to do 2 damage, or you discard her to do 2 like damage things, or 2 shields, so she can take some damage. Oh, poor puppy got killed. And then finally, here's like a gear cache, where if you're able to open up the gear cache, then you're actually obviously can get gear, which would be over there. So, like I said, not everything's going to have a mean, nasty alien on the other side, but, there's usually going to be mean, nasty aliens on the other side of these cards, strength 10. So, the game progresses until either you run out of time. If you run out of time, obviously you've lost the game. If you've managed to kill all of the aliens and all the alien, traps and everything that possibly could be out there before the time runs out, then you've won the game and you saved the world. The game is a heck of a lot of fun. It is very challenging, and I love the theme of it, and I love, the cooperative aspect of it really shines in this one. But I'll talk more about that in my conclusion. I'll do that right now. Oh, co-ops. I'm having this renaissance of cooperative gaming lately. I've been really enjoying it. Mostly I think it's because my daughter has kind of gotten into the cooperative world, and she really enjoys working with Dad trying to defeat whatever it is that we're trying to defeat when we're playing the game. This is yet another one of those games that meets all my criteria for cooperative games. It is difficult. It is very difficult. And I don't like cooperative games that are pushovers. It needs to beat me the first time I play, and beat me the second time I play, and beat me the third time I play. Just keep beating me down, make me earn that win. So when I do earn it, I feel really good about myself, and I feel pretty happy about that situation. It is a game where it is, even once you kind of learn the game, it is still difficult enough that it isn't a situation where you're just going to win just because now you understand the game. Because of the randomness of the cards, because of the fact that you don't really know what you're going to be facing, what you're going to be dealing with, it is that moment of exploration, that moment of reveal. I love moments like that where it's what am I facing? And you're oh no, it's a plasma mine. We just blew up. It's things like that where you kind of curse your luck, but you kind of enjoy it as well. While the game is beating you down, you're kind of you're having a good time while losing, which is always a really good thing when it comes to cooperative games. Now, cooperative games that are more Euro style, I never seem to enjoy those as much. I mean, I want games where I'm rolling handfuls of dice. I think it's more of the fact that I always want to feel like I have a chance. Even if I've got to basically roll 3 6s, which is technically what rolling a double hit mark is, because it's 1 and 6. Even if it's just that one chance, I want it. I want to have that one chance to just pull victory out of the jaws of defeat, because that's epic, right? I mean, that's cool, and that's where the whole storyline of the game comes in, and that's what I really enjoy. So, I mean, finally, the whole thing is I really like the theme, and also because of the fact that the players aren't really into designated roles or anything like that. You just kind of have special abilities. Nobody is feeling like the commander. Nobody's the general. Nobody's telling everybody else what to do. Everybody's kind of working together, trying to figure out how they're going to defeat these aliens, figuring out, hey, we need to make sure we take care of this spot. Hey, I'm really hurt. Get over here. Heal me. That sort of thing. All those things, make the game fun, and make the game fun for everybody that's sitting at the table. And that's something that I really, really enjoy, and I think that's the whole goal of cooperative games. And if they don't have that element, I don't find myself enjoying them very much. So, there you go. That is Nightmare Forest Alien Invasion. If you have any questions about the game, please ask away. I'll be happy to answer those as best as I can. As always, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video, and until next time, I'm the Undead Viking, and I'm telling you to have yourself one heck of an awesome day. Alright, bye-bye.